Good morning, Flagler County. I'm Rich Carroll. You're listening to Flagler's Morning News on Thursday, February 23rd.
A paraprofessional school district employee was violently attacked after leaving a classroom where she had disciplined a student.
It happened at Matanzas High School Tuesday. Flagler County Sheriff Rick Staley says a 17-year-old student from Palm Coast is facing felony charges of aggravated battery causing bodily harm.
The student pushed this employee so hard that she fell to the ground, hitting the floor with her head and knocking her unconscious. The student then proceeded to kick and pummel violently this employee.
Staley says students and employees stepped in to stop the attack while school resource deputies raced to that part of the building. The paraprofessional was hospitalized. Her condition isn't known. Sheriff Rick Staley said the actions of the student were absolutely horrendous and completely uncalled for. Flagler School Superintendent Kathy Middlestat said, creating a safe learning and working environment on our campuses is critical. Violence is never an appropriate action. This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota US 1 St. Augustine, here to wow you. Road improvement work on Belterre Parkway is happening.
Palm Coast Stormwater and Engineering Department is making headway on a project rehabilitating stormwater culvert pipes underneath the stretch of the southbound lane of Belterre Parkway that runs from Belterre Elementary to the Palm Coast Sports Complex. Andrea Mudrick, Stormwater and Engineering Project Manager.
So if you've driven down Belterre, you might have noticed that there's some dips that have been forming in the road, and that is due to some of the stormwater infrastructure under the road failing and deteriorating. So we are focusing on rehabilitating this 4,000-foot section.
Andrea adds the technique used on this project allows the work to be completed without completely shutting down the road, which is not only safer for motorists and pedestrians, but also more cost-efficient. Project is set for completion in a few months. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Karen Johnson.
Florida's 6th District Congressman weighs in on China's aggression toward Taiwan.
Representative Michael Waltz says the intelligence community sees a Chinese invasion of Taiwan as when, not if.
Chairman Xi openly talked about a military option and doing it on his watch, not passing it on to the next generation. Why does that matter to everyday Americans? Three big reasons. One, again, there's a new world order where Russia is doing it to Ukraine. China is thinking about it with Taiwan, where the big can invade and take over the small. Number two, about 90% of the world's most advanced computer chips are there. And then number three, if China controls Taiwan, it controls the shipping and trade routes into Japan, South Korea, Australia, Malaysia, about 50% of global GDP.
Lessons can be learned from the Russian invasion of Ukraine on how to help Taiwan hold off an attack.
The main lesson we have to learn from Ukraine is we need to arm them to defend themselves before, not after whole cities have been devastated and the world economy is being impacted. Their Navy is now larger than the U.S. Navy. Their Space Force is launching more satellites than the rest of the world combined. And their nuclear arsenal is set to triple by the end of the decade. So now it's not the time to cut defense spending. We have to do it more efficiently and better. And we also have to project strength so that every time she thinks about making this move, he says, not yet, we're not ready yet.
For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Rich Petchke.
What should we know about the one-room schoolhouse at Espanola?
It's the first piece of Flagler County Black history that's ever been nationally recognized.
Historian Randy J. says that he has an affinity to the place because he worked to get it on the National Register of Historic Places. He said that the school, built in 1949, opened in 1950.
They only had one teacher there. Her name was Giddens, and they had grades 1 through 8 in there, so she had to teach 8 different grades in the same building, which that was common in these one-room schoolhouses.
Jay said that students could go to school in their communities without being bused. He said that since the school district did not own the schoolhouse, it was not torn down and still stands in Bunnell today. It has since closed, and students do attend classes in other places. Common Grounds is on WNZF on Sunday mornings at 10, and it's on the Flagler radio app. From the WNZF newsroom, I'm Deb Albertson.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Rich Carroll.